a regular war, our soldiers they need regular weapons to fight. But in this pandemic war, we required the medical devices for our COVID warriors. And that's when the medical devices came into the spotlight for the first time. And we realized how important the medical devices is and the impact it had in this war on the COVID pandemic. In India, 70 to 80% of medical devices are imported currently. And this is where the government came in and they understood that if India has to be Atmanirbhar in this sector, the government needs to invest in here. And we had the PLI scheme that came in, the production linked incentive scheme. The government has invested 3,420 crores. And this has brought medical devices into the spotlight. And we had large companies like Tata, Serum Institute of India, Cipla, and even SpiceJet that started off a health division and has got into medical device. The kind of investments we are seeing right now in medical devices we have never seen before at this scale. And this is what has brought medical devices into the spotlight. Today, with our eminent panel, we will be brainstorming and we'll be looking at what the challenges for the medical device industry in India is, what are the opportunities that come out of this industry and the opportunities that are coming out now due to the importance of this industry. Even though the volume and the value might be low, but the impact is very high and the growth is high as it's a sunrise industry. I would like to start the panel discussion first with the MedTech man of India, Dr. Jitendra Sharma. He realized the opportunity in medical devices even before the COVID pandemic. And he set up a medical device park, EMTZ, in Visakhapatnam, which helped to overcome the challenges of the medical device industry, like high capital equipment, which is required in the medical device industry. So, Dr. Sharma, can you throw some light on the opportunities that are being given by AMTZ and how you're helping from design, tooling to manufacturing, testing of medical devices?
Thank you, Mr. Thakur. Pleasure to be on the panel. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. You see, the whole sector of healthcare should be seen as a circle with 4 parts, 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is the hospital infrastructure, land and building. And this quadrant is always going to remain out of the control of hospital sector because it belongs to real estate. There are different laws that govern this quadrant. The second quadrant is the quadrant of human resources. While we may at times cut down on the number of people we employ, increase it at other times, the salaries of these individuals is never going to go lower. It's only going to go higher, which means this quadrant also will remain out of our control. The third quadrant is the pharmaceuticals, which India has championed for last 20-30 years, which means while this is an important quadrant, it is something which does not generate a panic button, neither for healthcare nor for the country. You look at the fourth quadrant, which is medical devices. 55,000 crore of import, 85% import dependency, technology know-how lacking at times, machinery not being produced. While this is the smallest pie of the healthcare, it is the most critical pie because without a stethoscope, even a doctor cannot treat the patient. And therefore, this quadrant of medical technology has remained a neglected area for decades. Now, you superimpose this circle into a building, right? There is a very large building with multiple floors and multiple rooms. This building has a door which is much smaller than one of the rooms. The door has a lock which is even smaller, and the lock has a key which is of pencil size. But with a small key, you can open the whole building. That is medical technology. Because if you can, medical technology is the key to healthcare, the building of healthcare. Once you check somebody's sugar, you actually decide whether he or she should see a doctor or not, which drug they should take, which insulin they should take, what should be the periodicity of testing. Everything starts with medical technology. And therefore, हमारे देश में हम लोगों ने हेल्थ केयर की बिल्डिंग में घुसना चाहा है बिना सामने के दरवाजे की चाबी के, बिकॉज चाबी अभी तक हम लोगों के हाथ में थी नहीं. We never had the key to healthcare, which is medical technology. Now, if we have to take this key in our hand as a sector, what is it that we need? We need to identify that in this key, there are three systems, just like we have, grooves on the key, three systems which needs to be cracked for the key to be made. System one, जैसे ताले की चाबी के ऊपर तीन धारियां आती हैं, उसी तरह मेडिकल टेक्नोलॉजी की इस चाबी में तीन सेगमेंट्स हैं. Where to understand this challenge, we can change the medical technology landscape, and using that key, we can change the healthcare landscape. The first vertical in this key of medical technology is value chain. Now you see what we have done in COVID. Even in AMTZ, we are producing lakhs of RT-PCR kits per day. The country is producing over 1 million kits a day. This was not possible in March because India was importing the primer, the probe, the master mix, everything from either Germany or US or UK or Korea and so on. When we cracked the master mix, when we cracked the primer and the probe, we are able to make RT-PCR. And therefore, the first line to crack in medical technology segment, whether it is sensor for ventilators, pumps for anesthesia machines, or reagents for critical components for diagnostics, the first vertical to crack is the value chain. Now, this value chain may not be entirely medical technology sector, but those who deal with this value chain, they have to start providing this. मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूं. National Dialysis Program of India, working in public-private partnership since last 4 or 5 years. I was fortunate to design that program for the Ministry of Health. Uses dialysis machines in public-private partnership mode. Dialysis machine needs dialyzer. Dialyzers are not made in India except by one company, and that company also does it for exports. Dialyzer requires membrane which is made of polysulfone. Now, polysulfone is not medical technology. And unless we provide you with polysulfone, you cannot make dialyzer. Unless you make dialyzer, dialysis cannot be done. And it impacts the entire renal care healthcare segment. And therefore, we have to bring people who are in allied sectors to provide us the value chain our sector needs. That is the first thing. The second thing is the machinery chain. You name an assembly, whether it is glucometer strip, or it is piezoelectric crystal for ultrasonography, or it is a 3D printer, or it is an electrical safety analyzer for defibrillator. Each one of these production machineries, which are not medical machineries, they are production machineries for medical products, are not made in India. They are made outside. And therefore, the cost of capital is huge. And we are not able to capture the market because these machines, since their cost of capital is huge, cannot be purchased by everyone. And therefore, the market is small, the chicken and the egg story. So, production machinery, which is in heavy engineering, which is in steel, which is in metallurgy, this production machinery has to be encouraged for it to produce machines that people like you and me use in our factory. And the third is production chain. Now that production chain, if you have put the value chain of component supplies and ingredients in place, if the machinery chain, which means you have put your production machinery bandwidth in place, leads to production chain. In production chain, We have to understand why we produce. We produce essentially for three kinds of markets. The market which is government market, the market which is private hospital, private sector market, and the emerging market of self-help and online. Self-help, monitoring, and online market is an emerging market, but the traditional market is hospital, private hospital market, and government procurement market. What you mentioned, Mr. Thakur, about the PLI scheme is very interesting because that is production linked incentive. 5% of the annual, and as chairperson of the PLI scheme committee, I can assure you that the scheme takes production as a measure of performance. If you produce goods worth $100, you get 5% of $100, which is $5, not the percentage of profit, but percentage of your sales turnover per annum as incentive. That helps you become sustainable from your sale. Besides that, we have something called PMA, Preferential Market Access Policy, under the Public Procurement Order, which says if you are adding local value addition between 25% and 50%, 50% and above, then you would have preference of 50% in the public procurement. So even after opening of the tender, if there is an entity which is Indian make and doing value addition in India, is L2 or L3 higher cost than L1, they would be allowed to match L1, and if they agree to match L1, they would be given at least half of the order quantity. That is enabling public procurement market. The PLI scheme. So what is enabling public procurement market is PMA, the Preferential Market Access. What is enabling private-based, hospital-based supplies is PLI, the production linked incentive, 5%. What will enable online and home care segment is making these products as part of service program. It's not enough to sell a thermometer. We have to sell a well-being package which is integrated with temperature measurement and online consultation with a doctor once a month. When you convert these products into service, it generates a online and self-help care market. So what I'm trying to say and conclude is that for us as a sector and as a team to do well in medical technology, and for medical technology sector to do well, we need to understand value chain, machinery chain, and production chain. Value chain for ingredients, machinery chain for production process, and production chain for market. And that production chain has to be captured in favor of local value added goods at public procurement through PMA, private procurement through PLI, and online through service packaging. Now, thankfully, AMTZ, as you know, is an ecosystem where we have almost all of it, right from an online equipment seller like Medica Bazaar to scientific laboratories, to sensor manufacturing, to radioisotope, the ingredients, the production machinery. The reason why AMTZ is unique is that we have tried to put these three stripes on the key of medical technology at one place. Because जिस भी चाबी में 3 लाइन नहीं होगी, उस चाबी से ताला नहीं खुल सकता है. और ये ताला है medical technology. चाबी है medical technology, and the ताला, the lock that this medical technology can open a vast bungalow. It can open an entire house with multiple floors of healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma, for giving us that great knowledge about the value addition and throwing light on the PMA and the PLI scheme. In a follow-up to that question, when the PLI scheme was announced for 3,420 crores, there was another scheme that was announced, which I would like you to throw some more light on, which is the medical device park scheme, where it was decided that 4 medical devices parks will come out throughout the country. And since you were the first medical device park and you have seen a lot of companies that have come and developed in AMTZ and you have provided an ecosystem. So to a lot of our participants who are coming from the suppliers side, the suppliers to medical device manufacturers, it's always better to be closer to the manufacturers. So what kind of benefits would they get going to a medical device park versus say a medical device manufacturer? And you can throw some more light on this four medical devices which are going to come up, and then it's going to be an investment of 100 crores which are sanctioned by the government. So some more information on medical device parks.
Yes. No, thank you for asking that question. Actually, 100 crore cannot make a medical devices park. Two, medical devices park, unlike steel or any other sector, is a very scientifically complex ecosystem. Just by giving land or factory, you would achieve nothing. देखिए, सस्ती जमीन से, सस्ती फैक्ट्री से मेडिकल टेक्नोलॉजी को आना होता तो आज इंडिया में एमआरआई और सीटी स्कैन हर गली में बन रहे होते. We are not able to do it, which means the cheap land and the cheap factory is not the bottleneck. Bottleneck is putting science, business, testing, validation, and infrastructure together. Unless you can provide a good electromagnetic interference center, say 25 gigahertz, at AMTZ we have 40 gigahertz, your devices, whatever you produce, will still go to Singapore for testing. Unless you provide an accelerated aging center, nobody can make a pacemaker. And therefore, the scientific infrastructure in the park is critical, which cannot be provided at 100 crores. And therefore, the park scheme invites application from the state governments, so that 100 crore is the investment from Government of India and the rest is put in by the state. Again, making and setting up of a park is a very time-taking and laborious, effortful process. We have been able to achieve success by the goodwill of the industry, by our pioneer leadership in the scientific domain of medical technology, and the sheer team spirit we enjoy with people like you. I wish and hope that the same continues for the remaining parks, which will be selected in the Grand Challenge mode by Government of India. But again, it is geographical proximity which is not important. What is important is, are we able to give manufacturer what they need? If somebody is making a catheter or an endotracheal tube or a dialyzer, are we able to give them gamma irradiation plant or not? If in our park we are not able to give gamma irradiation plant, even the manufacturer in my town will go elsewhere for the gamma irradiation process. And therefore, in a park, the scientific ecosystem should never be compromised, because that is what which can take industry forward. Champions like Manish ji, Kishore ji are sitting there. They know how much painful it is to put scientific services of notified body in place. And if these scientific infrastructures can be put as a common facility, it reduces the cost, it reduces the capital investment required by the manufacturer, it reduces the time, and it brings credibility to the product.
Great. Thank you. And I have another follow-up question. Since you're located in the park and you have a lot of experience with different medical device industries, as you know, the medical device is a vast different types of medical device manufacturers, from medical disposables to MRIs to diagnostic kits. So for a lot of the participants who are coming from the medical plastic side, where would you tell them the opportunity lies in the medical device industry, and where can they focus for growth in their businesses?
The opportunity clearly lies in two parts. Part one is where the market is growing. Part two, where the market is static, but there is over dependence on imports. Because these two things have to be seen separately. Segment in which market is growing, like home care oxygen, oxygen concentrators, pulse oximeters, diagnostics, that is where market is growing. Any opportunity there should not be left, because this market will continue to grow. The second is where market is static, like radiology, MRI or CT scan, but there is over dependence on imports. That is also an opportunity. In AMTZ, we have done a balance. We have partnered with companies that are spread in both these segments. So, for example, India's first superconducting magnet for 1.5 Tesla MRI is being made at my zone. World's second robotic cardiac surgery system is being made at my zone. This is where the market is static, but there is over dependence, and we would like to claim make in India market from that segment. The first segment is where the market is increasing, like diagnostics. Now we have 9 diagnostic manufacturers of India in my zone. That is where market is growing, and every additional incremental technology benefit will only improvise the market. It will expand the market. And therefore, the audience must think of a product line and clearly understand in which segment this product line goes into. Segment which is growing or segment which is static with very little competition and over dependence. Each segment will have its own challenges, and we remain committed to our industry friends to work with them, not just advise them, to work with them hand in hand to sort out those challenges.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma, for giving us a brief on where the opportunity lies for a lot of our participants in the sunrise industry. So I was bombarding Dr. Sharma with these questions since he has another important meeting to go. So before he goes for his other meeting, we would wanted to get the most out of him. So now I'll go on to Mr. Manish from Mitsui Chem, who is from the industry, and he has been in the industry for a long time, and he has different verticals. So he is from the automotive plastic verticals, the infrastructure plastics, and also the packaging. And he also has a medical device plastics vertical. So I would like him to throw his experience on what was his journey like when he came into the medical device plastics, and where is the opportunity he sees, and what is the kind of growth and the future for this industry.
Yeah, hi, thank you very much. Firstly, I'll congratulate Niranjana and team for organizing such a conference. Yeah, so we are into different segment with the medical device and hospital furniture also. So the journey was initially it was a very tough journey. Yes, because there are a lot of if you think of to start, it takes around 2 to 3 years because you have to go with so many approvals and you have to go with the proper process. As Dr. J.K. Sharma ji said, like you really we have to look off like technology. Everything is possible in India as well, but people are still not going for the optimization of the technology. I think that's a main thing. We have started lately, but we will doing. I'm like we are little bit doing in the progress in the same.
Okay. So where do you see the opportunities in medical plastics coming going forward?
Yeah, so in the I mean like if you like today's newspaper Times of India says just 10 beds for 10,000 sorry 5 beds per 10,000 people, and I think they have mentioned some 30 billion or $30 million beds will be required by 2034. So we have ranked 155 among 167. So we can see our population and the demand. So obviously that's a big demand. There will be big demand as government also announced a big package on a healthcare. So there will be I will say in a hospital also there will be a lot of plastics will required, which we are already supplying there some of the articles, as we are competing with the Chinese and Germany. So there are so many other equipments as well as there are devices as well. So it's a big market. I don't have the right figures with me, but yes, as J.K. Sharma said, there's a very big numbers.
Great. Thank you. So with that, now I'd like to move on to Mr. Khanna, who is from the consumers of medical plastics, medical polymers, and manufacturing. He's one of the largest manufacturers in India for medical disposables. And he has been in the industry for a very long time, one of the oldest medical device companies of India. So now, Mr. Khanna, recently medical devices have been notified under the Drugs and Cosmetic Act. And regulatory is a challenge that often creates fear in the minds of people to enter this industry. And recently, in today's Economic Times, also it was mentioned that the Surgical Manufacturers and Traders Association has filed a plea in the High Court to not notify all medical devices under the Drugs and Cosmetic Act. So, what is your opinion on regulation, and is it a challenge or is it an opportunity?
Thank you, Mr. Thakur. Still unmute. Can you hear? Am I audible? Thank you,
Yes,
Mr. Thakur.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Thakur. And it's honor to be part of this panel and share my views. I have been, since beginning of coronavirus, I've been part of various discussions related to Indian medical device industry. Regarding the question of regulatory norms, the medical devices in India are regulated under the Drug and Cosmetic Act, which we have never seen anywhere in the globe. Many multinationals are hesitant to set up their units in India because of regulatory constraints. It is therefore important that the medical devices are regulated separately under the Medical Device Act, which has been already drafted by Niti Aayog 4 years back. The panel system in Drug Act is a disincentive for the medtech investors. The act is not appropriate for innovative engineering products like medical electronics. An appropriate legal framework envisaged by Niti Aayog is awaited as a medical device law that would decriminalize most oversight and regulatory lapses, which will have risk proportionate penalties. That means if there is a lapse on the part of the manufacturer, it should not be criminalized, it should not be jailed, there should be a disincentive by the way of penalties. This will encourage new entrants, like my friends, they are listening, they are really, when they come to see that there are criminal offenses considered in the Drug and Cosmetic Act, and they get discouraged. So the new entrants to venture into medical device segment, which are engineering products and not drugs. I would like to add that medical device is an engineering product, whereas drug is a chemical product. One regulator, one authority cannot regulate both segments effectively and efficiently. So it is therefore strongly recommended and requested to the various authorities that various segments we have already represented through the IMED that the medical device law should be a separate law other than Drug and Cosmetic Act.
Thank you, Mr. Khan, for throwing light on that challenge that I'm sure is going to become a challenge with all the medical devices coming and being notified. So with that, I'll move on to Dr. Jitendra Sharma before he has to leave for his important meeting. And I would like to ask him that India is the pharmacy for the world. When can India become the medical device capital for the world if you had a crystal ball to predict about it? And what will take us there?
4 years from now, we will need 1,000 Mr. Kishore Khanna and Mr. Manish Didia. Just 1,000. Today we have about less than 100 entrepreneurs like them. So it will take 4 years. If we have 1,000 leaders like them, 2, we have a law to regulate medical devices, like Mr. Kishorji said, which is at par with the world, which is internationally harmonized law for medical devices. and does justice to the manufacturers, as he rightly mentioned. And the third thing we will need is debureaucratization of processes. Debureaucratization meaning even today, if you ask me, medical devices companies, depending upon their product portfolio, may need 8 to 16 licenses from 10 different authorities. I mean, you just can't imagine that a person who is making X-ray needs to go to AERB, one making IVD kit should go to ICMR and CDSCO, somebody making N95 mask should go to BIS, somebody making electrical products suddenly at notification needs to go to CDSCO if they have overnight announced its notification in that. In fact, there is something called insecticide treated bed nets which are used for malaria program, for which the permission needs to be given by Central Insecticide Board. Just imagine the confusion in medical devices bureaucracy. In fact, all these regulators can have a single portal, and those who have applied for visa to VFS, we know that VFS Global, for example, is one visa processing agent. But when you put your reference number there, it takes you to the country which is processing your visa. Each processing authority of the country have access to VFS Global. 16, 17 regulators governing medical devices will never allow the sector to grow. If these 16, 17 people can have a common portal and they can each view what they want to view as per their law, but the manufacturer and innovator needs to go to one place, that too online, can serve the process. And therefore, if India has to become medical technology capital of the world, we need 4 years to 5 years time. We need investment on scientific facilities to the tune of about 500 crores for testing centers. We need debureaucratization and common regulatory framework for medical devices products, depending upon who the regulator is, but it should be common. Fourth, we need a law which is internationally harmonized, which is specific to medical devices. And fifth, and the most important, we need champions like people who are on this panel.
Thank you. That's like when Dhirubhai said there's space for another 100 Dhirubhais in the country. So I hope there are more hundreds and thousands of Bronsons and Mitsu chemicals coming forward, and a lot of more medical device parks like EMTZ, which has come up in a short period of 2 years with the infrastructure that is required for a very capital intensive industry like medical devices. So with that, I would like to move on to Mr. Kishore Khanna, who has been in the industry for a long time. He has been able to identify the gaps in the industry and look at the opportunities that has come across for a very long time. So, Mr. Khanna, now with the COVID-19 dynamic change that has happened and has led to the medical device industry being the spotlight, so where do you think is the big opportunity that lies now in the medical device industry?
The big opportunity lies in the medical device at the current stage is the syringe for vaccination, which is a very, very burning example of the emergency requirement. And then again, since I'm from the medical disposable sides, there are several other disposable devices which are still imported, and there is a scope of producing them in India. The major challenge faced by Indian medical device industry is the low cost import from China. The government should focus on increasing the competitiveness of Indian medical device manufacturers. India has the capability to become lower cost country than China. We have low cost labor than China. If the industry and the government work together, to increase the efficiency and competitiveness. The only objective of the government policies should be to increase the competitiveness, I repeat, of Indian industry so that it can make the devices and the products at the lowest cost and the best quality in the world. This is the gap that we do not have that kind of competitiveness what Chinese manufacturers have. The more industry can sell, more jobs will be created, more GDP in the economy. Creating more job across the sector is very important for overall growth of the country and medical device industry in particular. So I would expect government to create the medical device sectors faster, quicker, as promised and as envisaged in Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Right. Thank you. So for the short term, we can look at the vaccination as a
Program.
the market and fulfilling that. And long term, we can look at the huge imports that are happening, 70 to 80% imports that can be a great opportunity for us under the Atmanirbhar Bharat and manufacturing in India for the Indian manufacturers. So with that, I would like now to hand over the same question to Mr. Manish Gheria. So where do you see the opportunities lying as you are a supplier to a lot of medical device companies? So what in your mind is the opportunity that lies here? Is it the Indian market? Is it export? Because a lot of times we see the finishing of the products, for example, a simple glucometer, which is made in India, is not similar to the finishing you would get from an imported product. So in your mind, is that an opportunity that can be tapped for the Indian market, or we look at exports for that?
No, so with I think there is a very big demand in India only. So like the report says, like India needs 3.5 million hospital beds by 2034, and they will require 3 million doctors also. Now this is a really very big figures. With this, you required all the other facilities from like all the medical devices, starting from syringe and up till the X-ray machines. So there's a very big demand in India itself, because I think India will be as a Prime Minister also has a vision that India should be a health holiday destination. So I think there's a big market in India itself, and we can do compete with the world market.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And how can we improve the finishing of products? Like, say, for example, the glucometer finishing that we get from abroad, it's like more smoother, more glossy, or looks better, the touch and feel. How can we improve that over here?
Definitely. See, I think that the look and feel is also can be done with the technology for sure. We are also making pregnancy device, HIV kit, malaria kit. These all are like international standard, because they are exporting some of the component. They buy from us and they export the same. Also, we are competing with China and Germany in hospital furniture parts. So I don't think so. There is a big challenge. The only thing is you required the very good technology. You have to
It's
invest.
more about the technology.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, Mr. Kishore Khanna, there are some questions coming from our audience which are related to manufacturing of medical devices. So I would like to address this to you. So can you
Yes,
shed
please.
some light on the role played by MSMEs in the medical device industry? And what are the challenges the MSME companies face in the industry?
The biggest challenge at the moment, there are several challenges, which I would like to uh, explain one by one. The first challenge is land. I find that the land is just not available in India for setting up an industry, and particularly for MSME. The big industry can get a big land from the government and they allot and they get it. But for a small industry like 2,000 square meter, 1,000 square meters, many industrial estates are not set up across the country. The second challenge is the capital. As Mr. Sharma has explained earlier, that it's a capital intensive industry. This capital is very expensive. The rate of interest in India has come down a little bit in last 4 or 5 years, but still it is around 9 to 10%, whereas in China it is 4 to 5%. And then what is important is the debureaucratization, what he explained, Dr. Sharma has explained. When a MSME goes for taking the manufacturing license, he has to run from pillar to post and day and night and whatever he has to do. And generally, he ends up when he ends up getting the manufacturing license, he is really exhausted. So these are the basic challenges which MSME facing today.
Thank you. Similar to you, Mr. Manish, from coming from the manufacturing or the inputs to medical devices, what would you say are the challenges faced by manufacturers for the medical class of 6?
Yeah, so most of the things I think Dr. Jitendra had already said that the regulation for a medical devices, we need to reduce that. Maybe really they should have a single window in real sense. That's a one challenge. And other challenge, yes, the mindset. I must say there's a big mindset till date. That if it is a import one, this is a perfect one. So I think the big challenge is in a mindset from the public, because I am sure there are so many companies here. Even Khannaji also very very big exporting their syringes worldwide. So I think there are big in India. There are so many exporters who export medical devices to abroad. But when it has to come to use in India, it is we use the imported. So I think that's a big challenge for it.
Great, great. Thank you. So there's another question coming up from the audience, and it's got to do with Atmanirbhar Bharat. So when we were hit by this pandemic war, our government, our Prime Minister decided that we should be Atmanirbhar. So we are self-sufficient and we have all the tools for our COVID waters. And that's when we saw medical ventilators coming up and being manufactured in India. We had N95 masks, PPE kits, and VTM products, which were not manufactured before in the country. And for the first time, we started manufacturing it. And today, India is supposed to have the second highest capacity for PPE kits. But is this enough? Has this been enough? Or do you think we could have done better? Or it's a commendable job and this is where we stop? Yeah, Mr. Khanna, since you are from the industry, do you think Atmanirbhar Bharat we have achieved, or we have still a long way to go?
It's a related question. We run short of PP kits, and the industry responded to the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and they produced from small quantity of PP kit to a huge 20 lakh pieces per day. Now this quantity is not being consumed in India. We have achieved the goal of import substitute or stopping the import of PP kits, I personally believe, because we have enough quantity production capacity in India. But I understand there are several manufacturers who have stock inventory of PP kits which is not being sold. Many hospitals have stopped buying or buying 50% of the quantity for PP kits. Similarly, the mask and N95 mask, like we imported the N95 machine and the mask 3-ply mask machine from China by air freight. The 5-tonner machine came by airplane. And we are producing currently, we have 1 million mask production capacity per day. And So now the challenge is the whatever the production capacity which has been generated in the country should be sold. So we have achieved the Atmanirbhar Bharat in these two segments, but in other segments where there are still imports like endotracheal tubes, like catheters, like so many other items, cardiac catheters. There are so many other items which are imported, and there we need to work on as per the PLI scheme as announced by the government is a very good scheme, and I'm sure industry at a large, if go for that scheme and utilizes the funds available by the government and the support provided by the government, we can achieve the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Right, thank you. So the same question to you, Mr. Manish. So when the inputs are not available, the manufacturers like Romson and cannot be independent. They cannot manufacture. They have to import the inputs. So you play an important part in making the inputs in India. So for example, in the viral transport medium, even the swabs were being imported that time, and now India has sufficient capacity for making swabs. Similarly, in your industry, do you feel that now we are Atmanirbhar Bharat, or there's still a long way to